This story begins when astronaut Sam wakes up disoriented in a hospital. A doctor reassures her, telling her that her condition is completely normal after a mission. As she jokes about the hospital gown, another team member congratulates her on her first successful mission and asks if she's happy to be back. Sam confesses that she could have stayed in space forever. The doctor asks how she feels. Sam describes a sensation of heaviness and dizziness and mentions she saw a pen floating. The doctor dismisses this as a hallucination from the weightlessness, which is totally expected. Sam then asks about her bandaged hand. They explain she has severe swelling, likely from the landing impact, but fortunately, there's no fracture. The conversation turns serious when they inform her they lost communication with her during re-entry and ask her what happened. Sam tries to remember, explaining that she received the splashdown coordinates and everything seemed fine, but afterward, she thinks she hit something. She isn't sure, but assumes she lost consciousness during the descent. The doctors reveal the seriousness of the matter. Something pierced her capsule and shattered her helmet. When Sam asks what it could have been, they tell her they suspect meteoroid debris and are analyzing particles found on her suit. They emphasize that she was extremely lucky to survive. Shortly after, she gets a visit from her family, but due to quarantine, she can only see her husband Mark and her daughter Izzy through a glass panel. Izzy is excited, and Sam assures her she's fine. It's just that they're making her stay in the chair for a while. Just then, her father, William, arrives and greets the family. William asks Sam how she is and tells her that since it was his daughter's return from her first space mission, he couldn't miss it. He mentions that the team already briefed him and that it sounds like it was a very dangerous incident. William gives her some important news. The Pentagon is joining NASA in the investigation. Seeing Sam's surprise, he explains they are working to decode some electrical frequencies detected during her re-entry, so there is a mutual interest. He adds that, due to the media frenzy, the department has secured a nearby isolated house for her recovery, far from the prying press. A doctor interrupts to inform them they must run more tests on Sam before she's transferred, after which the quarantine will end. The family says goodbye, and Sam promises Izzy a giant hug and reminds her of their secret "Who Do You Love" game. Sam is moved to a modern, isolated house in the middle of the woods. There she is greeted by Dr. Michelle, who welcomes her and warns her to take it easy while her body reacclimates to gravity. Michelle gives her a tour, mentioning the property is 10 acres and that the government bought it in the 50s for weapons testing, though it's now used to house diplomats. Sam jokes that, with the nearest house miles away, it sounds like a horror movie. Michelle shows her the facilities, which include a gym that will be her new best friend to combat muscle atrophy. Outside, she shows her a telescope in case she misses space. Sam comments she used to have one just like it, but as she looks through it, she experiences a sharp pain and cries out. She tells Michelle it's just a ringing sound. The doctor assures her that tinnitus is very common and will pass. Once she's calmer, Michelle reminds Sam to expect all kinds of symptoms, from nausea and dizziness to nosebleeds and hallucinations, as the body takes time to adapt. She emphasizes that the more she reports her symptoms, the better they can evaluate if it's necessary to delay future missions. This worries Sam, who asks about the possibility of delays, as she has a trip to the International Space Station scheduled in 2 months. Michelle tells her not to worry and informs her a team will come to see her every morning at 7:30. Later, now alone, Sam video calls her friend Val. Val is relieved to see her, telling her not to scare her like that again. As they talk, Sam suddenly freezes, staring intently outside. Val calls her name several times until Sam reacts, apologizing and saying she thought she saw something. Val asks if she's eager to go back to space, to which Sam replies she never felt more at home than up there. Sam confesses she is starting to have symptoms, like a nosebleed. Val gives her some blunt advice. Don't report everything. She seriously warns her that even if she feels horrible, she needs to keep it to herself, because otherwise, they will never let her fly again. Sam assures her she knows and won't say anything. Val insists that if they want to go back to space, she has to downplay everything, and that these symptoms are normal for a first-timer and will pass. After hanging up, Sam hears a noise in the house and calls out, but no one answers. At first, Sam brushes it off, but soon the house lights begin to flicker, and she hears a loud crash in another room. She goes to investigate and discovers the back door is open, with muddy and wet footprints on the floor. She finds an overturned chair in the living room, which is what caused the noise. Instead of panicking, Sam goes out onto the patio and heads for the telescope. She aims it toward the dark woods and, between the trees, she manages to spot something moving. The narrative makes it clear that this creature is intelligent and knows it's being observed. Undaunted, Sam grabs a flashlight and ventures into the darkness of the woods to find what she saw. While she's searching, we see that the creature is now walking on the roof of the house. Suddenly, that unbearable ringing returns to her ears, accompanied by flashing visions of bright figures at what looks like a crash site. Just then she wakes up. We don't know if it was a dream or if it was real. What is real is that the next morning, Sam wakes up in her bed and notices the bandage on her hand is gone. The strange purple mark on her skin is not only still there, but it seems to be spreading up her arm. She tries to go about her day and goes to the kitchen to make breakfast. But then something impossible happens. She sees an egg floating in the air, levitating above the counter. The camera confirms this is not Sam's hallucination. The egg is really floating. She touches it, the egg wobbles, and when she pulls her hand back, it continues to float. At that exact moment, the NASA medical team arrives, and as soon as they enter, the egg drops and smashes onto the counter. Sam spends the morning undergoing routine medical tests, including physical exercises. During one of the tests, she feels a sharp pain in her foot but dismisses it, saying it's just a cramp. After the session, while she's resting with ice packs, Dr. Michelle apologizes for the intensity of the tests, but explains the data is vital for the space program. Michelle asks her directly if she's had any more tinnitus or hallucinations. Sam, remembering her friend Val's advice, lies. She assures her the ringing hasn't returned and she hasn't had any more hallucinations. Satisfied, Michelle tells her she'll be fit to fly soon. Once the team leaves, Sam video calls her husband, Mark. Trying to reconnect, she suggests that when she gets out, the three of them take a family trip to a beach. Mark immediately rejects the idea. He tells her he doesn't think it's healthy for Izzy to see them together like that if that's not how we're going to be. Sam is saddened and insists they are still a family, but Mark reminds her they almost lost her. He throws it in her face that she was gone for 6 months for training and that he knows she'll leave again for the next mission, calling the situation unfair. Sam defends herself, saying he knows how important the mission is to her, but that he and Izzy are important too. She confesses she just wants to give Izzy the family she never had. In this conversation, it's revealed that Izzy is adopted, as they couldn't have biological children. Mark sadly admits he thought the adoption would bring them together, but it didn't bring the peace they expected. The tense argument is interrupted by Izzy herself, who excitedly appears to show Sam a drawing. The drawing shows the family, Mark, Izzy, and Sam, but when Sam asks what the figures she drew up in the sky are, Izzy answers matter-of-factly, "Space people." Just then, Mark has to cut the call short for a university meeting, and they say goodbye. After the call, Sam goes outside to the patio and decides to walk into the woods to clear her head. As soon as she enters, the hellish ringing returns, drilling into her head. She clutches her head as the visions of a search team at a smoking crash site flood her mind again. When the sound stops, Sam looks down and discovers something that shouldn't be there, a cable hidden among the leaves. Curiosity gets the better of her and she follows the cable to a rock that's emitting a faint light. Upon lifting it, she discovers the rock is fake and is concealing a security camera. Alarmed, she searches for more and finds another cable leading to a second hidden camera. As she backs away, she trips on a tree root and falls, hitting her head hard and losing consciousness. When Sam regains consciousness, she's back in her bed. She has a pounding headache and, touching her hair, notices blood on her hand. At that moment, a man enters her room. He explains they found her injured outside. Sam asks who found her, and the man turns out to be her father, William. He tells her they got quite a scare when they arrived and couldn't find her, and scolds her for not resting. Sam gets straight to the point and asks him about the cameras she found. William admits he didn't tell NASA all the details about the property. He then leads her to another room, moves some furniture, and reveals a hidden section, confessing that the house is actually a high-security bunker. They go down a staircase as he explains the place was built to hide important people temporarily. They reach a massive underground facility with bedrooms and a dining area. William guides her to the central systems room, which runs on its own power source. There, he turns on the monitors and shows Sam the dozens of security cameras surrounding the entire perimeter. He explains that in an emergency, the house seals completely with 3 layers of reinforced materials and has a defense system. He assures her she won't need it, but he wanted her to know they weren't spying on her. After the reveal, William tells her he has to get back to the base and asks her to now try to rest. Her father leaves, and as night falls, Sam decides to relax in the outdoor hot tub. Everything is quiet until the wind stops completely, and she hears strange noises in the woods. Unsettled, she goes back inside the house and tries to call Mark, but the call goes straight to voicemail. At that moment, the lights flicker again and go out. When she looks toward the door, she sees the silhouette of a mysterious creature. She blinks, and the creature is gone. Sam runs to lock the door, but just as she activates the alarm, the house's AI announces a breach detected and lockdown initiated. Metal shutters cover all the windows and doors, trapping her inside. She tries to use her phone, but there's no signal. She hears a terrifying growl from the next room. Terrified, she runs down to the bunker as the creature seems to sprint past her. She tries to activate the power breakers and the doors, but nothing works. As she hesitates about leaving the bunker, a gray hand slams against the glass of the door. Sam screams and runs to the control room to check the cameras. At first, she sees nothing, but finally on one of the exterior cameras, she spots the creature crouched on the lawn. Suddenly, Sam wakes up with a jolt at the control room desk. It had all been a nightmare. Right at that moment, William and the medical team arrive. Sam, still shaken, tells them she thinks there's a problem with the generator and tells them what she saw. William, skeptical, promises to check the security footage. Meanwhile, the medical team begins their tests. Dr. Michelle examines Sam's hand and admits the purple mark doesn't look normal, so she will schedule an X-ray. Later, Mark and Izzy arrive for a visit. While William distracts Izzy by showing her the telescope, Sam takes the opportunity to speak with Mark alone in the woods. Desperate, Sam tells him everything. The spreading bruises, the things she's seeing, and her worst fear, that something non-human followed her from space related to the signals she was transmitting. Just as Mark tries to calm her down, Izzy interrupts them. Shortly after, William takes Sam to the bunker to review the footage from the previous night. However, at the exact moment Sam says she saw the creature, the recording just shows static. William insists it's all a product of stress. The family decides to take a walk in the woods. While Mark and Sam are talking, Izzy runs ahead and disappears from view. They panic and start screaming her name. Izzy suddenly reappears, showing them a dead insect. At that instant, a deafening buzz fills the forest, and thousands of insects begin crashing into the trees. The family runs back to the house just as a massive swarm descends on the property, completely covering every window. As quickly as they arrived, the insects drop dead, leaving the glass covered in their bodies. A NASA team arrives to clean up, and an officer suggests it was an environmental phenomenon. Mark, worried, decides to take Izzy home to rest, promising to return later. Alone again, Sam feels a sharp pain in her foot. Checking it, she sees her toe is bleeding, and to her horror, the nail detaches. The marks have also appeared on her back. The lights fail again, and Sam, terrified, barricades the door with furniture while searching her symptoms online. She finds articles about alien abductions and geomagnetic disturbances that match what she's experiencing. Mark calls her, but the connection is strange. Sam, on the verge of a breakdown, asks him if she was good for him. Suddenly, the house goes into lockdown mode again. Sam screams to Mark that something hit the house and, in her panic, trips and falls down the stairs into the bunker. Her phone shatters. Touching her back, she notices a strange gelatinous substance on her wounds. She runs to the cameras, but they're off. A system scan detects 2 individuals and then 3. The creatures appear on the screens, and Sam hides in the bunker, seeing there were reflections in the appliances. She manages to lock herself in a bathroom, but the creatures pound on the door. Checking her hand, she sees it's covered in the same slime as her back. Sam escapes through a ventilation duct. Outside, Mark and Izzy arrive to find the house sealed. Izzy sees a light in the woods and runs towards it, forcing Mark to follow. Sam manages to get out through an exterior hatch, just as William arrives with a team of armed soldiers. Sam runs through the woods and collapses, surrounded by the creatures. One of them approaches, lifts her face, and speaks to her in a strange language that, to her surprise, she understands perfectly. The creature tells her they missed her and that they are her family, asking her to remember. In that instant, the visions become clear. Sam is one of them. Her alien family crashed on Earth, and to protect her from William's soldiers, They camouflaged her as a human child. William found her and adopted her, raising her without knowing her origin. Just then, Mark and Izzy find her. William and his soldiers also arrive, and he confesses the truth. He always knew what Sam was and used her as bait to lure the other aliens. William orders them to surrender, but Mark attacks him. In the chaos, Sam's camouflage fails, revealing her true, glowing form. Mark screams at her to go. Sam touches Izzy's hand one last time and flees with her real family. The soldiers can only watch as a spaceship ascends and disappears into the sky.